How's she going, everybody? This time in the garage, we're gonna get rid of some snow and ice. Nah, the hell with that. We're gonna go do some work on the Harley today. We had a sort of a bad ice storm, and now it just started snowing this morning. So now we got this skim of ice on everything. That's solid ice that covers just like paper mache. Anyway, we're not going to deal with this crap. We'll wait for Mother Nature to melt that off. Today we're going to finally get at those parts for the old Harley that we got in October. It's now February. I guess it's time to get those on there. So we'll drag the Harley out and we'll start putting some new parts on. I'm going to do my first box opening on the channel. Got some parts in October for the Harley because we figured out that we had the wrong frame for the footboard, which attaches to the foot clutch mechanism and the kickstand. So what we have is off an earlier version. Like I said before, this was this bike was built out of parts from an original build. I didn't know that at the start, something I found out later. Would have been a little more useful earlier, but I was wondering why a lot of the things weren't matching up. But the bolt holes did line up, but all the pieces for the actual 45 didn't. So I was just watching a YouTube channel there, Bikes and Beards or SRK Cycles, whoever it is. He has two channels and he's doing a WLA, similar bike to this one. So I sent him a message on some of the places I've been getting parts from. And this one was from 45 Restorations. You can pretty much build a whole bike out of their catalog. Their prices are reasonable. They have like original kind of parts and reproduction parts, so they can fit both budgets. So let's see what we got here. We got the brand new. I went for the CAD plated stuff. The shifter rod goes there. I had this stuff for a long time. I forgot what I even ordered. The duty they charged on this was like almost 250 bucks. With the US conversion, it really put this piece really expensive, but I didn't have the right stuff to begin with. So there's the new foot clutch rocker and the whole assembly with the friction plates and cover and everything. So that should just bolt right up to our stock stuff. And the other one was totally wrong. It's a pretty nice piece. And I got the foot clutch spring. And what's this? Shifter lock. Oh, the clevis for the shifter rod. So one end bolts through the transmission and the other end is the clevis. So I got both pieces here. And I got the nuts, the shifter rod end bolt. So it's just a bolt that's got a shoulder on it. So that'll slide through. So that's all our parts. So with all this stuff, we should be able to get the foot clutch working and the hand shift working. We're going to try to get the foot clutch on here first. So we'll loosen up the kickstand bolt. There's a pile of washers on here. The shoulder on this as well, so that should match up to the piece we have. And the other piece we didn't. And that should bolt there. See, this is not painted or something. The owner's son, he does his own powder coating, just does it for himself. So when I get this stuff all working and fit up, I'll probably send all this brackets and anything like that. Once we get closer to the end, I'll send them over to him to get everything powder coated, clean everything up a bit. That's not the right washer, but this won't be the last time this will be on here. So, alright, that looks better. That side stand is still hitting. It's like, it's also not the exact piece for this. It's a reproduction one. It could be from another model, but it hits the same way the other one did. So I'm just gonna probably just heat this up at some point and change the shape of it to get this to clear. I might take it apart again and have a better look, but these can only bolt on one way because they grab onto the down tube, so the mount sits a certain way. But it just looks like this is just a little bit bent the wrong way. And even when it fits in the holder, it seems like it's a little off. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. It'll go out of the way enough for me to move around and put it on its side stand. Enough of that rambling. So this should be foot clutch, how this operates. So we should hook up the cable for this guy, which slides in back there. So we got a cotter pin and a washer to hold that on. Get in there. Let's see if we can get that clutch cable hooked up to this unit. Tiny little cotter key. It wasn't folded over, where it's a new piece. So this just slides over. I've got this adjusted out pretty far, just until we get this in place. And oh, there it is. There was a little relief right in the back there. If you get the pedal just in the right spot, you can get the eye over. Alright. Get this washer back on. Let's turn the cotter pin. I lost it already. I got my piece of stainless safety wire in there. I'll find that cotter pin later. I got a bunch of spare cotter pins. Alright, so now I don't have this bolted to the mount because I was messing with it trying to get the foot pedal to work. But let's see if we can get, if it does anything. Oh yeah, there it goes. Let me stick a couple bolts in there and we'll get this clutch pedal to work. Well, we got one of the two bolts on. The other bolt doesn't quite line up, so I'll have to modify that mount a little bit, as everything else on this. See if you can see this. The clutch plates are moving. There we go. Clutch on, clutch off. Clutch on, clutch off. So that all seems to work. Except that doesn't fit. Oh. one step closer. Okay, I'll have to modify the hole on this mount a little bit. It's not quite lined up, but we'll just oval them out a little bit so that both bolts grab. Next we'll see what this shifter linkage is all about. So it's got a little pin and cotter pin too. See if I can lose that damn thing. Oh, this must be the spring for the clutch. I gotta put that on as well. Must be for the return and the holding. Shifter and bolt. So, not sure which end goes through where. So it looks like the clevis goes on this end. That goes on that end. Now all these pieces, you can buy them individual or buy them as a kit. So if you're not missing everything, you don't have to buy the whole kit if you're just missing one part. Which these days it's hard just to buy one part without having to buy the full unit. The same thing here, we'll just put this on full extension until we get everything fit up. So I'll probably get all these powder coated once we get a little closer to that. Alright, that seems to fit alright. So I think I'll put this pin through first. I don't know what happened to my cotter pin now. I'll be dreaming about that tonight where that fell. Alright, so this is just a pin, a cotter pin. Goes through the clevis, and there's a little rod on the transmission here that this pin fits through, just a little eye, and that moves the selector, transmission selector back and forth. I don't see a washer with this, so it must just, the cotter pin just goes through on its own. See if I can lose that down in there now. Alright, I'll open that up a bit so it doesn't fall through. And I dropped it. I heard it hit something. Not much luck with the cotter pins today. Gotcha. Man, what a bugger that was. Alright, so now I guess we'll see if we can figure out the position of the shifter. I don't know what gear this thing is in, so no clue. It's in neutral. That's what it's in. I'm pretty sure I had it to kick it over, so we seem to be a long way off of neutral with this. So this rod could be for a couple of years or a couple of different bikes. It might not be the exact one. I think it's a neutral, I'm not sure. Well, I'll just pretend that it is for now until I figure it out. We'll get this on here. To go, yes. Alright, as far as that goes on. I'll have to jack up the wheel to get this on here. Oh good, no cotter pin in this one, I should be alright. So, we got this guy. bolt doesn't fit through anything. What the heck? Clevis end. Shifter rod and bolt. Doesn't go through any of these things at all. What the heck? That's supposed to sit on that shoulder there, but it doesn't even fit in the hole. Got two washers, an inside washer and an outside washer. It looks like that's supposed to go right through that and that. Yeah, neither one of those fit. Well, I'll have to check the manual here for a second and see what's going on. This shifter rod could be the wrong one as well. So because of some of the powder coating that was on this, and this here, I looked on it, it's the shifter bolt is for 45, 61, 74, and 80 models. So I'm not sure at which point the battery went dead. I'm just getting used to this camera. The cold weather here is just kills the lifespan of it. So I took the end of the shifter rod and I opened up the hole to accept the shoulder bolt. And I had to thin it out a little bit so that the shoulder would come past the shifter arm and the clevis. So I got that all open, and I had to open up the hole on the shifter arm too as well, because it was powder coated at some point and it was just all built up. And the threads were really stiff on this adjuster, so I ran my tap through that just to clean up the threads and blow them out, and now they seem pretty good. So let's see if we can get this on here. And I looked up a picture on how this goes together. So that piece goes first. It's got a little thin spring washer for a little bit of tension. It goes into the shifter, lock washer, and the nut. So now you can tighten up that nut, it doesn't pinch it, and the shifter's free to move back and forth. So, clutch. I opened up the holes for the clutch cable bracket. I just took my Dremel and just, there's a lot of meat on this one side, so I just opened up the threads closer, so now I got 2 bolts into those. That's all solid. This kickstand still doesn't close. I just did a little bit of research and I found that there's a couple of years around 40, 41 where these bikes with the Springer front end have a different shaped kickstand. And unfortunately this is one of the ones that have the odd one. So this one is the generic one from like 30 something to the 70s or 80s, but these particular year, this frame with this Springer front end, it doesn't work. So I'm just gonna get my torch out someday and I'm just gonna reshape this arm so that it fits and everything clears, and I'll just make this work. It'll be almost impossible to track down one of the other ones, and we already bought this one, so gonna make it fit as usual. So let's try to put the footboards on and see how this clutch looks. So there's I took the footboard off the other unit that was on here. And, put that on. Man, it's freezing out here today. When I get to put this stuff together finally, I'll get the proper size washers and just some better material. So we're just trying to put this together as we're going. Is what we got. I was talking to my mother earlier this morning. She was asked me if I was going to turn the heat on today. I'm like, no. I said we blew the budget for heat this year already, so I said, how are you going to keep warm out there today? I said, maybe I'll do some jumping jacks. She said, I'd love to see that. So anyway, later on, if I get cold enough, I'll video some jumping jacks so she can see what I'm doing, keep warm, and so I'm a man of my word. So I'm gonna push on the clutch. Clutch plates are opening all the way down, and I got about a 1/4 inch of travel on the clutch lever, so that should work fine. Spring for the clutch. I'm not sure how this one goes on. I'm seeing a loop and a hook. So this looks like something that's gonna, if you don't get it right, it will take the head right off you. I hate the springs are just one of them things. They just so I guess I gotta pull that one up to there somehow. So the front ones are backwards. Let me see here. I guess it really doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to see if I can get that into place. I seen some guy on YouTube the other day. His name was Craig. He has the channel Doghouse. And he's over in England somewhere. And he built all kinds of old bikes and stuff. And I see Craig use a piece of wire and he wrapped it around the spring and then put it through a screwdriver, and then he was able to pull the spring up over the spring holder and slip it on, and then just trim the wire off without killing himself. So I'm gonna see if I can get that little trick to work for me. Yeah, anything you're doing like kickstand springs or anything like that, you're always trying to slip them on with your pliers or your needle nose or something, and it's always just frightening trying to get them in place. So I'm gonna see. So all I do is wrap a wire around this. No way. That thing is under super tension. I don't think that's gonna work. I definitely cannot pull that tight enough. Maybe I'll do it shorter. I'll shorten it up a little bit. That's one heavy spring. No way. That ain't gonna work. So I guess you probably need one of them proper spring tools. I see people have, but I definitely don't have one. So I'll just try and damage my fingers. No way, this ain't never gonna work. Nope. Well, let me try. Something a little more dangerous. Alright. I'm gonna ratchet strap that spring and put some tension on it with a ratchet strap. Let's see what kind of danger this will cause. Alright. So I hook it to. Do I have anything I can actually? Well, maybe that'll work. Alright, let's try this. Keep my face out of the way. Well, it would have worked if my wiring job was better. Alright, let's try this again. I'll wire it up a little better. Alright. I know there is a proper tool for this, but I don't have it. I won't have it anytime soon. So we'll work with what we got today. Okay. Let's try this again. Seems like it might work though. A screwdriver here to keep this out. Well, look at that. And it worked. Ta-da! Made my own spring compressor. That spring is in where it's supposed to. Never seen one of these in action before, so I guess it just puts tension on it. It holds the clutch on, I guess. Feel it on, and then you let it out. I think it holds it down. Alright. Here's that we're in neutral. So let's see if I can. See, I don't know how these work, so. It did move. Yeah, looks like we're way out of adjustment. Second. Control. Yeah, looks like it's probably got to go further. Let me take this bolt off. I think these have extra threads on these, so you can cut them down if you need to, depending. So that's first gear there. Pretty close, yeah, it's still got to go a ways down for the first. Might have to just trim that down just a little bit to get that just right. So all learning with this old stuff. I'm not into old Harleys or anything, but I do like the old one. Instead I'm just doing this one for a friend of mine. So first gear, neutral, second, and third. It's pretty close actually. So, second, neutral, just on the edge of first. So that needs to be, so I'll have to take a few threads off this just to make that be able to go push it a little further back. Alright, we'll pause there and I'll shorten that up and we'll get right back to it. And now we got first gear on the gauge, neutral, second, and then third, all the way up. I'll get a friend of mine to make me up some little brass bushings for all the joints, just to take up some of the slack. It'll make the adjustment a whole lot easier. This thing, I don't know how much this is really ever going to be ridden. So anyway, that's going to be it for this time on the garage. Thanks for stopping in. And next time we will, maybe we'll start modifying that kickstand, put some heat to it, reshape it, see if we can get it to tuck back. See if we can get this to tuck back in under the footboards instead of just going that far. So it only goes back as far as there, so it's got to tuck up back here. So we'll just get the torch on it, do some shaping, see if we can get that to work. I still may try and make my own intake manifold to try that Honda carburetor that the owner supplied with it, just to see if I can make something, just so I can get this thing fired up and hear what it runs like. And then we'll just worry about all the other parts. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, enemies, whoever. My channel has been growing a little bit lately, so I'd like to keep that momentum going. I'm just mixing it up with some Harley stuff, Buell, BSA stuff. The Corvette videos seem to be doing a bit better. So enjoy this cold day here in Nova Scotia, and we'll see you next time. Remember, if you're not working on your project, nobody is. So I promised my mom I'd do jumping jacks to stay warm since we blew our propane budget, so here we go. Oh, my leg! That's it, I'm buying propane.